What's going on, true Blazer fans? It's Tori, and welcome to Monday Mailbag number 33. As I said when I announced that I was making a new channel, I'm still over here on True Blazer Fan making videos for you guys. I just dropped a Pulse episode, so go watch that if you want to. I will also be doing a video on your guys' off-season ideas in terms of guys we should target, maybe guys we should draft, and so forth. So anything regarding possible moves in the off-season that was left in the comment section of the last Monday Mailbag, I will be saving those for that episode. If you want to leave something down in the comment section below for that video, feel free to. Also, make sure you ask a question related to something else if you want it answered in next week's Monday Mailbag. And one last thing, if you have been out of the loop for a little bit and haven't subscribed to my new channel, the link is in the description below. If you didn't watch that announcement video, basically I'll be splitting my time here at True Blazer Fan, which isn't actually my channel, it's Eric's channel who makes the full highlights, and he created it a year before I even started making content for it. And I'll be splitting time between here and my new channel, which is Blazers Uprise. So go check it out. I think you'll enjoy some of the content that I have. So with that being said, let's jump into your questions from the past week. Tayton says, what if we take next year to rebuild and sign who we only need to sign for the long-term future and trade away to gain cap space so we can sign a big name next year like Hayward, Drummond, or Porter? And I'm not leaving this in my off-season ideas video because this is more of a mindset, it seems like. I don't know if you're talking about trading away a guy like CJ in order to get picks as well as cap space to sign a guy like that to add to whatever we get with the picks we get for CJ. In theory, it's not a bad plan, but if we have a rebuilding year, we're not going to be able to sign a big name free agent. We couldn't sign a big name free agent after making the second round the year after Aldridge left. The only time we could sign a big name free agent is after we've made it to the Western Conference Finals. This summer, if we had cap space, would be our best chance at actually landing a big name guy. But it's not going to happen this summer because we don't have cap space. And then if we rebuild next year, we're not going to be able to attract a big name free agent. There's going to be a lot of teams with cap space and a lot of teams going after the same free agents. So I don't want to rebuild. I don't want to shred this team down at all. And that's a path that I don't think is all that practical. Kyle Campbell says, how much do you think having Nurkic in the conference finals could have changed the outcome? And honestly, I've seen a lot of people talk about, oh, what if we had Nurkic to take on Golden State? And Nurkic is a matchup problem for them, but at the same time, who knows? He could have struggled in that game 7 against Denver, and that could have helped us lose that game and not even make it to the Western Conference Finals. Although that seems counterintuitive, you change something like that and the ripple effects could result in us not even making the Western Conference Finals or us not getting the 3 seed. But if we did make it to the Western Conference Finals, I don't think he would have had that much of an impact because I think our problems were problems that he couldn't have necessarily fixed. Our lack of ball movement on offense, the way our offense bogged down. Remember in the Pelican series last year, we had Nurkic and he didn't solve the trapping defense. Obviously, he was a lot better this year, but still. In terms of our defensive scheme in game 1, having Nurkic wouldn't have helped us win that game because we were giving up wide open threes all game long. In terms of our defensive schemes from there on out, we were playing an aggressive trapping scheme which was working really well, and Nurkic does have the ability to play in that type of scheme, but I don't think he would have helped it more than it already was. The problem that lost us game 2 was our weak side rotation, and then if you're talking about in game 4, I don't think him playing would have helped us out at all because Myers Leonard had a 25-point first half and really spaced the floor, and it opened up things for Damian Lillard in the second half, which really built us a lead. Of course, we choked it, like we did in pretty much every lead in the series, but in general, I'm not sure Nurkic would have made a difference in the outcome of that series. His presence might have pushed it to 5 games, maybe 6, but the Warriors would still be in the NBA Finals right now. Luke Summers says, what do you see Jake doing next season? I really liked what I saw from him in the regular season and wish he could have gotten more PT in the playoffs. And honestly, I have no idea what to expect out of Jake next season. Is it going to be like how he was the last third of the season when he couldn't hit a shot and wasn't moving off the ball? Or will it be like the first 2/3 of the season when he was shooting almost 40% from 3 and moving very well off the ball? His cutting was beautiful. It was perfect. Nurkic was finding him. I have no idea what to expect out of Jake Layman. He is going to be the biggest enigma going into the offseason in terms of, will teams see the first half of his season and be like, this is a guy who can legitimately play, and could they possibly give him an offer sheet that we don't want to match? Or is he a guy that's not even going to get any attention on the free agent market because of the way his overall stats looked at the end of the season? And will he be back in a Blazer uniform next year because of that? Who knows? He might accept the $1.9 million qualifying offer. Or I could see some team out there being desperate and signing him to a $7 or $8 million a year contract. I have no idea in regards to him going into this offseason. And then in regards to next season, I don't even know if he's going to be on the team, but if he is, I assume he'll play. He played during this regular season, and we'll probably elect to let a guy like Anfernee go, but at the same time, he fell off a cliff in the last third of the season, and Stotts' confidence in him has always seemed shaky at best. Cole Glandon says, no disrespect, I think you're sleeping on Trent. He got all summer to develop and looked like a stud when he went to the D-League. I know that doesn't necessarily translate to having good NBA games, but with this tight cap space, I hope Scal, Trent, and Simons become the players we saw against Sacramento. Great video though, and always, go Blazers. Now this isn't a question, but it's an interesting topic of conversation, because one of my arguments would be that what he does in the G League probably doesn't translate to the NBA, but you obviously realize that as you addressed it. Honestly, it all comes down to his shot. I think he was in an absolute zone when he went down to the G League, and I don't think that his G League stint of shooting is something that he's going to be able to replicate on a consistent basis throughout his career. I think next season, if you send him down to the G League at the start of the season, I don't think he's putting up those numbers. I don't think he's shooting that well. He's a good shooter, but I don't think he's that good. But then he also had more of an advantage in terms of quickness and strength on shooting guards in the G League, so that allowed him to get shots inside. He doesn't have those advantages in the NBA, so he really struggles to get to the rim, in my opinion. So I still have a lot of questions about him, but he can help answer those questions next season. I could easily see Trent tearing up the Summer League, but that's the same level of competition as the G League, so I'm not going to look too much into that. Zero Skills Gaming asks, am I first? I don't know, dude. Your comment is in the middle of the comment section. Oh. I honestly didn't remember that I commented this. So, yeah, you were first. Congratulations. Speaking Facts says, man, I don't know how this cap thing one works, like somebody please explain. I know we're a small market team, but I be feeling like the Warriors, Lakers, and Celtics never go through this problem. It's crazy. We always find some players that do good for us and then can't keep them. And I really feel like Cantor is more important than Rodney, but it would be great to keep them both. We just need to add some more pieces and we would be set. Now, no team really goes through having 3 free agents and not having their bird rights or even their early bird rights and 3 free agents that are going to make a lot more than what they were making for the team. It's kind of unprecedented, actually. Any team over the cap would have the same problem as us and would probably only be able to keep 1. In terms of not having cap space or these bad contracts, remember, Los Angeles gave $16 million a year contracts to Timofey Mozgov and Luol Deng. Both of those guys are technically still on those contracts, but they traded D'Angelo Russell, who was an all-star last year, who was their number 2 pick from a couple seasons ago. They attached him to Timofey Mozgov just to get rid of Mozgov's contract. Now, they got back Brook Lopez in the 27th pick, but that just shows you that they had to attach a promising young prospect just to get rid of that contract. Now, that 27th pick worked out for them. It turned out to be Kyle Kuzma, so that trade isn't all that bad, but that contract was terrible. And then they also waived Luol Deng, so they have dead money on the books, which I would rather us just let Turner run out because he only has 1 year left. Compare that to waiving and stretching him right now and putting $6 million of dead money on the salary cap for the next 3 years. I'm not a fan of that. So the Lakers only have their cap space right now because they took some drastic measures. Connor McIntosh says, very, very unpopular opinion, and I want to be proven wrong. I probably am wrong, but is Anfernee Simons and Scal ready to play big minutes in the NBA? Because judging off what I saw last year, I believe no. But I'm not a hater. I hope they're great. I know that Kings game was sick, but did you see who they were playing in the second half? And yes, they were playing scrubs, but how can you use last year to base anything off those 2 guys? I mean, Anfernee Simons barely played. He didn't play college ball. He comes in and in a few garbage time minutes, you're going to make the claim that he's not ready to play next season? I don't think that's entirely fair. You can take away more from that Kings game than you can from Anfernee Simons coming in the game cold at the end of the game and playing 2 minutes of garbage time. And then when you look at Skal Labissière, look at his rookie season. He did play, and he played well. He was a solid contributor on an NBA team. His playing time kind of fell apart in Sacramento, and Sacramento was a really crummy situation for him because they kept drafting bigs to put ahead of him, but this dude has proven that he can play at the NBA level, and he obviously has the skill. So I honestly think both of these guys could be NBA players in a rotation on a winning team next season. We'll see, but Scalabissiere for sure is definitely a guy that can play. Harkless says, Simons is the backup point next season? Yeah, I really doubt it. It's possible, and I would be ecstatic if he proved a pleb like me wrong, but he's still got a long way to go before being there. Who else is going to be the backup point guard next season? Evan Turner? Anfernee Simons can be better than Evan Turner. I'm just saying. We're set to lose Curry. We're going to need somebody to replace Curry in the rotation. I think it's Anfernee. If we use the full mid-level exception or the taxpayer mid-level exception to keep Rodney Hood, then we won't have the ability to replace Curry. So it's probably going to have to come from an in-house replacement, and that's probably Anfernee Simons by default. So anyway, that's all your questions and some of your comments from the past week. I hope you guys enjoyed this Monday mailbag, and that's a wrap for the video. This has been Tori. I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Go Blazers.